we have a 100% chance, 1 out of 1 chance of dying. You're not getting out of this alive.
Please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we put up new videos. Hello, I am Tara, the author of the Dining on a Dime cookbook, where you can eat better, spend less. We have a new hardcover with full color pictures and over 1,200 recipes and tips to help you save money on your grocery bill. Check it out at livingonadime.com.
Karen, quit living in fear. I go to the grocery shopping and come home and the clothes stay on. If someone had directly sneezed or coughed directly on me, that may be different. Yeah, so we got
yesterday, what?
About, let's see, what is this? Almost January 1st, so about, we got that about 10, 12 weeks ago. And Mike went and got tested yesterday for all of you who were hollering at me. And it was positive that the antibodies are there, and that's what we actually had. But you cannot live in a continual state of fear. It just causes unnecessary stress.
It'll kill you before
the stress is going to kill you more than...
It will. It'll cause you heart problems,
will kill
all
you.
Kinds of things, yeah. Stroke.
Now, it's not that you shouldn't be cautious, and we're not saying don't be cautious, but if this was actually that bad that you had to strip your, unless you're a healthcare worker, but that you have to come home and strip your clothes off from being in public, they would have biohazard trash cans for masks and gloves. They wouldn't have to convince you that you have this by taking a test when you don't even know you have it. Now, I'm not saying that nothing's happening. Yes, there is a virus out there, and yes, it is making people sick. But there have been millions of viruses all the time for all of humanity. You just have to go on with life. Yeah, be careful, but you can't be paranoid and live in a spirit of fear. And if you're washing your clothes every time you come in, you're already exposed.
Well, I saw a thing this morning. The doctors were talking, and they asked, "Do we have? How do we sanitize our home? You know, for this?" And the doctor kind of laughed, and they said, "You don't need to do all this sanitizing." They say if you do basic cleaning, like you always clean your regular, you know, wipe your counters with soap and water, whatever. They said that will take care of it, because it's not what it has to come. It's through the air and come to you through the air. That type of thing is what they said this morning is how you usually get it. And you don't have to wipe every can off, nothing like that, because people were so worried about that. And this was doctors saying this morning. So
why not say Tammy? Because YouTube and Facebook are censoring. So we don't. Elizabeth, chronic stress destroys the immune system. Yeah, it does.
It does. So you'll be in worse shape if you worry about this.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I get in the car all the time. I drive between Colorado and Kansas. I go to the grocery store. Every time I get in that car, I take a chance of killing myself. I take a chance of killing somebody else, and I take a chance of getting hurt or maimed. And I probably had more car wrecks and accidents of people hitting me and stuff. Them hitting me, not me doing them. And yet that doesn't stop me from driving a car. You know, you have to live life reasonably. When I get in the car, I'm careful. You know, I try to do the safety laws and that type of thing. That's all you have to do with this too.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Oh boy, this is you wouldn't let me be on a night.
This. God does not give us a spirit of fear. If you are living in a spirit of fear, that is from Satan. That is not from God. For no matter what. And you have to realize that if you are living in this constant state where you're always afraid, that is from Satan.
Yeah.
That is not from God. The Bible tells us that God brings us joy and peace He does not bring us fear. Satan brings us fear. Satan brings confusion.
And you're kind of worshiping when you give into this fear. Worshiping Satan, I'm afraid.
When you give into that fear, you are telling Satan, okay, I'm believing you over what God tells me. And if you're a Christian, you need to really think about that.
And you may think you're just being cautious and wise or careful in this, but if you are obsessing about it, where you think about it all the time, you're worrying about it all the time, you're anxious about it, that's from Satan. God never allows any of that worry or any anxiousness to come upon you. Never. Yep. It's never from him.
And I'll just tell you right now, if you are living in that constant fear, you need to get right with God. You really do. Now, we have free Bibles that if you cannot afford a Bible, go to livingonadime.com, click on the shop. Michael put a link in there. Click on the shop. Go to the left side, it says Bibles. And we have a coupon code there that if you cannot afford a Bible, we will mail you one for free on us. If you can't afford one, we sell them at our cost. We don't mark them up or anything. We just sell them at the cost. The shipping is included. But you have to stop giving in to this constant fear. It's not from God. You know, I feel real. I am not trying to play down people who have died from this. We have viewer after viewer saying so-and-so died or so-and-so died. But guys, God knows the day that we're going to die. And we have a 100% chance, 1 out of 1 chance of dying. You're not getting out of this alive. Unless you happen to be a Christian and Jesus comes back to get us first. But aside from the rapture of the church, you've got a 1 out of 1 chance of dying. So whether it's from or a heart attack,
stroke,
or old age,
a car accident,
just old age,
slipping and falling down the stairs, whacking off your finger, you know, you've got a 1 out of 1 chance. You need to make sure that you are right with God and that you know for sure you're going to heaven. And if you are a Christian, and we get this all the time, people who are Christians and say, but I'm so afraid for my family. Listen, do not be afraid for your family. Pray for your family. Even if Jesus comes back and takes the church back with him, which, I don't know, I think is coming pretty soon if you ask me. Nobody knows when for sure, but I'm thinking it's coming. But even if that happens and your family doesn't know Jesus as their Savior, a lot of people are going to be saved during the 7-year tribulation before Jesus comes back with us to get the rest of them. So your prayers will be heard. So please don't let that worry you. And if you are worried, turn that worry into a prayer. But guys, this living in a constant state of fear, Mom and I are doing a video on this because she saw a grandma talking about her grandson and how, oh, this is so horrible. And it's all, oh, you know, oh, my poor grandson. And the grandson was there. And she was like, oh, how are you handling this and all this? And Mom said she called us.
Yeah, so the grandma was just going on, well, let me tell you what you need to do, and you don't need to be afraid, but I know it's awful, and this is a unprecedented time, you know, and it's just so scary for everybody. And the kid's sitting there like, I didn't know it was scary. It's like she was teaching him that this is scary. It was a 7-year-old, and it was a teenager. And I could see the look on their face like, you know, am I supposed to be scared here? Well, I called Tara as soon as that was over. I was just calling her. She called me for something. And in the background at Tara's house, there was one of them walking. I heard somebody walking around whistling. I heard somebody else walking around singing their heart out. I heard a couple just in there hee-hawing and laughing. And I thought, what a difference in Tara's attitude and dealing with everything that's happening in life. And she's had a lot of horrible things that she's had to deal with. But whenever I call, that's what I hear compared to this other mom or grandma talking to her kids. and the fear and this terror on their faces, you know, and you could tell they were upset. And why live that way? You're causing more damage to your family with, you know, the first scowl than if you just, you know, with the fear in your life, is you're causing more damage.
And here's the thing. You either trust God
or you don't.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. You either trust God
do we have
or
a
you
minute
don't.
to tell this story real quick about the shepherds? Okay, it's close to Christmas. We've just gotten Christmas over with. And I heard this from a speaker the other day, and he was talking about how the shepherds, when the angel appeared to the shepherds in Bethlehem, you know, when Jesus was born, the angel said, "Fear not," because the shepherds were terrified. Now, these were grown, strong men. I mean,
shepherds aren't wimps.
Yeah, they would protect the sheep. They lived out in the night, you know, and day, and they were tough men. And the angel said, "Fear not," because they were terrified, absolutely terrified. Well, you go to the resurrection, and Mary goes to Jesus's tomb, you know, after they buried him and everything, and she goes there, and here's an angel appearing to her, and she just says, "Where is he? Where's Jesus?" She was wondering. There was no fear. The Bible doesn't show her having, and here's this, you know, fragile, you know, not tough woman.
Weak woman.
A weak woman. I was hesitating in saying that. But this fragile woman, the angel didn't say fear not to her. And what was the difference between her and those strong, tough shepherds? She was in love with Jesus, and she trusted him totally, and she had complete confidence that he loved her the same way back. Yeah. So she wasn't afraid of anything. She knew the one that controlled her life loved her more than anything else and didn't want one thing awful. Anything that came to her, she knew he allowed it to happen because that's the way it was supposed to be. Love. That was the key word. She didn't have fear. She had love in place of it. And we have totally gotten rid of the love and filled our lives with fear. And when you do that, I mean, the thing, that is the least of your problems if you've done that. Because when you substituted fear for the love.
Yeah. All right, so a couple people asked, what happened when we got it? I got sick first. We got it probably when we were on our trip to Montana. Came home about 7 or 10 days after that trip. I got sick first, had a really bad headache, really bad muscle pain. I finally told Mike, I've got to go to bed, and I never take naps hardly. And so I went to bed, was feeling horrible. Just thought maybe it was the flu or something because I had my taste and smell and everything. Well, then the next day I still felt pretty bad, but I was able to be out of bed. The next day I started feeling significantly better, and I had a cough during this whole time.
Slight cough.
Yeah, slight cough. Then on day 5 and 6 I actually got a fairly good cough, and I noticed I went to go put on my perfume, and I was like, well, what is wrong with my perfume? I can't smell my perfume. So then I went to smell Mike's cologne, and I was like, oh, I know what this is. So then after I'd had it about 7 days, then Mike caught it. He was only sick 1 day, had a cough for like 2 or 3 days. I had a cough for about 8 weeks, finally went away just a couple weeks ago. Then the kids, about 3 or 4 days later, all the kids came down with it. Ellie was the only one who got a fever. Or Jack did. Ellie and Jack. Ellie got the worst fever, and Jack just got a little fever. And that was it, and we were done. I mean, I had a cough for 8 weeks, but everybody else was only sick for just a few days, and then they were done.
And I've been around them for many years, and they sounded, and she sounded just like a normal when you catch the flu or get a really, really bad cold.
And I will tell you, as soon as they mentioned that vitamin D was helping all of this back in March, I made sure every week my family took the recommended dose of vitamin D. And I have been keeping the vitamin D down because, you know, that was about it. So I don't know if the vitamin D did anything or not, but I did make sure that we were careful and all of that. So that's all that happened with us. No, there's no reason for us to take a vaccine. We've already had it. So we won't need a vaccine for anything, and probably wouldn't take one even if we wouldn't have had it. So, okay, Shirley says, sorry, but never heard of someone saying changing clothes was devil worshipping before. That was weird. It's the truth. If you are changing your clothes because you are afraid, that is giving Satan worship instead of God.
But if you think about that, we didn't say the changing of the clothes.
It's not the changing of the clothes. It's the
emotions
fear
and the attitude.
Yeah.
See, that's where people get hung up. They think the physical thing, they can't separate the two. They get them mixed up, and it makes a big mess. You know.
Yeah.
We didn't say that. We didn't say it was the clothes. We said it was the fear, the emotion.
And Diane said, there's a big difference between being cautious and being obsessively fearful.
Exactly.
I wear seatbelts in my car as a precaution, but I don't worry in fear every time I get in my car. Exactly.
That's exactly the perfect way to put it.
Exactly.